The controversial issue of selling water out of state or moving it from east to west has come up again at the state capitol. Some lawmakers are eyeing out-of-state water sales as a way to lessen ongoing budget shortfalls. During the interim study, however, numerous problems came up that will likely leave this idea in the trash can.
State Senator Dave Rader asked for the interim study. He compares selling water to Texas or other states to the production of oil and natural gas, or tapping the wind to produce electricity.
Another natural resource flows in abundance in our grand land and into neighboring states at no cost to those states, nor any benefit to the state of Oklahoma nor her citizens. That renewable resource is water.
Senator Rader sees water sales as a way to shore up the state's ailing budget.
The possibility of a new revenue source to the state at no cost to her citizens would be welcomed by the vast majority of Oklahomans. Excess water could very well be that resource.
It became clear, however, that selling water from southeastern Oklahoma is really not much of an option if the goal is to ease the budget crunch. Attorney General Mike Hunter told the study out-of-state water sales are currently illegal, and if the law was changed, then you run smack into the court settlement between the Choctaw Chickasaws and Oklahoma City.
Any monies paid relating to out-of-state water sales shall be deposited into what's called the Water Preservation Infrastructure Fund.
And from there, the money could only be used for water projects.
Solely and exclusively to provide grants for the construction and maintenance of public water infrastructure throughout Oklahoma.
That may be why Senator Rader is no longer looking at water in southeastern Oklahoma, but instead water from the Arkansas River. According to the Oklahoma Water Resources Board, on average, just under 40,000 cubic feet of water per second flows through the metering gauges on the Arkansas River. Kent Wilkins is Chief of Planning and Management for the Water Resources Board. He says determining what could actually be sold would reduce that amount.
We have compact requirements, we have existing appropriative uses, we have domestic use, NRCS storage that we have to subtract from the available water.
And what's left over could be permitted for other uses, but that depends on whether it stays in the Arkansas River Basin or is sold outside the area.
And we have to ensure that there's enough water currently and future, generally for another 50 years, to satisfy all the needs of the basins, the people and industry within that basin.
According to the Water Board, at the state line with Arkansas and southeastern Oklahoma, where the river leaves the state, there is just over 7 million acre-feet of water available for permitting for out-of-state sales. But Wilkins says just having a permit to access it doesn't mean you get it.
Our permit does not guarantee water. And run of the river is a somewhat not as reliable as having a dependable yield in a reservoir. So there are drawbacks to pulling right out of the water, out of the river.
Then there's the cost of building the pipelines to move all that water. Michael Reedy is with Freeze and Nichols Engineering, a company that specializes in planning, designing, and managing public infrastructure projects. They looked at two projects for moving water from east to west. First, a northern route taking water from Kerr Reservoir to Lake Altus Lugert, and a southern route moving water from Atoka Reservoir, again to Lake Altus Lugert. Both routes would involve 300-mile large-scale pipelines moving 100,000 acre-feet of water a year.
We're estimating that to have a total implementation cost of approximately $2.5 billion.
And if you push the water flow up to 250,000 acre-feet, it would about double the cost and the size of the pipeline. The firm also looked at using water out of Lake Hugo to sell to Texas. That would be cheaper, using a 70-mile super-large pipeline.
Same general size of infrastructure, 244-inch pipelines, but because it's shorter, the cost is estimated to be closer to $2.4 billion.
And if Oklahoma were to ever sell the water to Texas, it would cost Texas billions of dollars more to build out the infrastructure needed to get the water to where it is wanted or needed. And that's a problem Oklahoma would also face if it were to ever move water from east to west. Dwayne Smith, former head of the Water Resources Board, now the consultant to the Choctaw Chickasaws, made that point.
that farmer is going to have infrastructure to get that water from the pipe wherever the reception point is, at a reservoir, a new reservoir, or wherever. They're going to have to go get that water and get it to their cattle.
Several other issues did not come up at the interim study, such as what rights would other Native American tribes have to the water from the Arkansas River Basin, and the impact any such removal of water would have on the Arkansas River Compact. And the bottom line, where would the billions of dollars come from to build the infrastructure necessary to move all that water, plus the ongoing cost of energy to keep the pumps running?